The Phantom's return, the signal that changed everything, deep in the outer rim of the solar system. The Titan monitoring station hummed quietly through another routine shift. Commander Sarah Chen stared at the endless stream of data flowing across, her screens watching for anything unusual in the vast emptiness of space. For 15 years, she had worked at this remote outpost, and nothing significant had ever happened. The station existed to watch for dangerous asteroids or foreign objects that might threaten Earth, but space was mostly empty and boring. Then, at exactly 14:32 station time, everything changed forever. A signal appeared on her screen unlike anything she had ever seen before. It was strong, clear, and definitely artificial. But what made Sarah's blood run cold was the identification code embedded in the transmission. The computer confirmed what her eyes refused to believe. This signal was coming from the ESV Phantom, Earth's first deep space exploration vessel that had vanished without a trace 50 years ago. Sarah's hands shook as she activated the emergency communication system. Within minutes, every major space agency on Earth was listening to her report. The Phantom had been humanity's greatest achievement, a massive ship designed to explore beyond the solar system and search for signs of life. When it disappeared, the loss devastated the entire planet. The crew of 300 brave souls were declared heroes, and humanity's dreams of interstellar exploration died with them. But now somehow, the Phantom was calling home. The impossible Discovery Admiral, Marcus Webb, led the rescue mission personally. As Earth's top military commander, he had trained with many of the Phantom's original crew members. The thought that they might still be alive after 5 decades in deep space seemed impossible, but he had to know the truth. His fleet of 6 ships approached the coordinates where the signal originated, expecting to find wreckage or debris. Instead, they found something that defied all logic and understanding. The Phantom floated silently in the darkness, completely intact, but this was not the same ship that had left Earth 50 years ago. Strange, glowing lines ran along its hull, pulsing with an eerie blue light. Parts of the ship seemed to have grown rather than been built, with organic curves and structures that looked almost alive. The metal surface rippled and shifted like liquid, yet remained solid to their scanning equipment. Admiral Webb ordered his team to approach carefully. As they drew closer, the Phantom's bay doors opened by themselves, as if inviting them inside. The rescue team exchanged nervous glances, but they had come too far to turn back now. 6 volunteers in full protective suits crossed from the rescue ship to the Phantom's docking bay, not knowing what they would find inside. The interior of the ship was even more shocking than the outside. The corridors that once carried human crew members were now filled with strange glowing crystals that hummed with unknown energy. The walls themselves seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting in a slow, steady rhythm. Equipment that had once been purely human technology was now merged with alien devices that no one could identify or understand. The mystery deepens as the rescue team moved deeper into the ship. They made a disturbing discovery. There were no human bodies anywhere. The crew quarters were empty but not abandoned. Personal belongings remained exactly where they had been left, as if the crew had simply vanished into thin air. Family photos, books, and clothing lay untouched, preserved perfectly after 50 years in space. The ship's computer systems were still active, but they had been completely transformed. The screens displayed information in languages that no human had ever seen before. Mathematical equations covered every surface, written in symbols that hurt to look at directly. The rescue team's equipment began behaving strangely near these displays, with readings that made no scientific sense. In the ship's central command center, they found the most incredible discovery of all. Captain Elena Rodriguez, the Phantom's original commander, sat in her chair as if she had never left, but she was not quite human anymore. Her skin had a faint, silver glow, and her eyes held depths of knowledge that seemed impossible for any single person to contain. When she spoke, her voice carried harmonics that resonated through the ship itself. She told them a story that challenged everything humanity thought it knew about the universe. The Phantom had not been lost or destroyed. It had been chosen. Somewhere, in the deep void between stars, An ancient alien intelligence had intercepted their ship. This intelligence belonged to a civilization so old that it had watched galaxies form and die, but it was now facing extinction. The aliens had been searching for a species worthy of inheriting their knowledge and technology. They had tested countless races throughout the cosmos, but all had failed their trials. Humanity represented their last hope. The Phantom and its crew had become the testing ground for this cosmic experiment. The transformation Captain Rodriguez explained that the crew had undergone a gradual transformation over the decades. The alien technology had merged with their bodies and minds, enhancing their capabilities beyond human limits. They could now perceive dimensions of reality that normal humans could not even imagine. Time moved differently for them, and they had experienced centuries of learning compressed into the 50 years since their disappearance. The ship itself had become a living entity, a hybrid of human engineering and alien biotechnology. It could repair itself, adapt to any environment, and travel vast distances in ways that violated known physics. The glowing lines on the hull were actually neural pathways, allowing the ship to think and respond like a living creature. But this transformation came with a terrible price. The crew could no longer return to Earth as they once were. They had become something new, something between human and alien. They were still themselves in mind and spirit, but their bodies and capabilities had evolved beyond recognition. They were pioneers of a new form of existence, explorers of realities that pure humans could never experience. The rescue team learned that the alien civilization had left behind vast repositories of knowledge throughout the galaxy. Technologies that could solve every problem facing humanity: unlimited energy, faster than light travel, the cure for all diseases, and methods for terraforming entire worlds. But accessing this knowledge required a fundamental change in human nature itself. The choice before humanity, as Admiral Webb's team prepared to return to Earth with this incredible news, Captain Rodriguez made one final revelation. The aliens had not chosen humanity randomly. Hidden in human DNA were genetic markers left behind by this ancient race millions of years ago. Humans were, in a sense, their distant descendants, engineered to eventually reach this moment of contact and transformation. The Phantom had returned not as a rescue mission, but as an invitation. Humanity now faced the greatest choice in its history. They could remain as they were, limited to their solar system and gradually depleting resources. Or they could accept the alien gift and transform into something greater, gaining access to technologies and knowledge beyond imagination. But the transformation was irreversible. Those who chose this path would become like the Phantom's crew, more than human, but no longer purely human. They would gain incredible abilities and lifespans, measured in millennia, but they would be forever changed. Earth would need to decide whether this evolution was worth the cost of losing their original humanity. The rescue team returned to Earth carrying the most important message in human history. The Phantom floated silently in space, waiting for humanity's answer. Inside its transformed hull, Captain Rodriguez and her crew prepared for either celebration or farewell. They had become bridges between two forms of existence, hoping that their sacrifice would lead to humanity's greatest advancement. The universe watched and waited as Earth struggled with a decision that would determine the fate of the entire species. Secrets of the Void. The Great Debate. News of the Phantom's return spread across Earth like wildfire. Within hours, every major government, scientific institution, and religious organization was involved in heated discussions about humanity's response. The revelation that humans carried alien DNA and were being offered godlike technology divided the planet into passionate factions. Dr. James Harrison, Earth's leading xenobiologist, led the scientific community's analysis of the alien technology. His team worked around the clock to understand the implications of the Phantom's transformation. The samples brought back by the rescue team contained biological matter that seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Under microscopic examination, the cells appeared to shift between organic and mechanical states, defying classification. The technology itself was equally bewildering. Energy readings from the Phantom systems registered at levels that should have been impossible to contain. The ship's power source appeared to draw energy directly from the fabric of space itself, tapping into forces that human science had only theorized about. Most disturbing of all, the technology seemed to respond to human thoughts and emotions, suggesting a level of consciousness that challenged every assumption about artificial intelligence. President Maria Santos convened an emergency session of the United Nations to address the crisis. Representatives from every nation gathered to debate humanity's future. Some argued that accepting the alien gift was humanity's destiny, a natural step in evolution that would solve every problem facing the species. Others warned that the transformation would destroy human nature itself, turning people into alien copies with no connection to their origins. Religious leaders struggled to interpret these events within their theological frameworks. Some saw the alien contact as divine intervention, a sign that humanity was chosen for a greater purpose. Others declared it a test of faith, warning that accepting alien technology would separate humans from their spiritual roots. The debates raged in temples, churches, and mosques around the world, as believers sought guidance in this unprecedented situation. The hidden truth, while Earth debated, Dr. Harrison made a breakthrough that changed everything. Deep analysis of human DNA revealed that the alien genetic markers were not randomly distributed. They were concentrated in individuals who had always shown exceptional creativity, intelligence, and adaptability. Artists, inventors, explorers, and visionaries throughout history had carried higher concentrations of these alien genes. This discovery suggested that humanity's greatest achievements were not purely human accomplishments. The Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, the space age, and countless other leaps forward had been guided by alien influence embedded in human genetics. The species had been slowly preparing for this moment of contact for thousands of years. Captain Rodriguez, communicating through quantum entanglement from the Phantom, revealed additional secrets that the alien civilization had shared with her transformed crew. The universe was far older and more dangerous than humans had imagined. Countless civilizations had risen and fallen, destroyed by their own limitations or by cosmic forces beyond their control. The ancient aliens had survived by transcending their original biological forms, but their transformation had come too late to save their homeworld. The gift being offered to humanity was not just technology, but the wisdom of countless dead civilizations. The alien database contained the complete histories of species that had faced similar choices throughout galactic history. Some had embraced transformation and thrived for millions of years. Others had rejected change and eventually succumbed to stagnation, war, or natural disasters that their limited abilities could not overcome. But the most shocking revelation was yet to come. Earth was not the only world where this experiment was taking place. The ancient aliens had seeded dozens of species across the galaxy with their genetic markers, hoping that at least one would successfully make the transition to a higher form of existence. Humanity was in competition with other evolved species, and the first to fully embrace the transformation would inherit the aliens' complete legacy. The Watchers in the Darkness. Earth's debate continued. Deep space monitoring stations detected disturbing signals from distant star systems. Other worlds were going through similar transformations, and not all of them were responding peacefully. Several civilizations had split into factions, with some groups accepting the alien gift while others violently opposed it. These conflicts had escalated into wars that consumed entire solar systems. Admiral Webb's intelligence network discovered that some of these transformed species were now traveling between star systems, seeking to either help or hinder other worlds, facing the same choice. Earth's isolation was ending whether humanity wanted it or not. The planet would soon be contacted by beings who had already undergone the transformation, and their intentions were unknown. The Phantom's crew detected approaching vessels from 3 different alien civilizations. Captain Rodriguez warned that these species represented different responses to the transformation. One group had embraced the change completely, becoming pure energy beings with abilities that bordered on omnipotence. Another had partially transformed, retaining their original nature while gaining enhanced capabilities. The third had rejected the alien gift but had stolen the technology through force, creating a warlike species that sought to prevent other worlds from accessing the same power. Earth had perhaps weeks before these forces arrived. The decision could no longer be delayed or debated indefinitely. Humanity would need to choose quickly, and that choice would determine not just their own fate, but their relationship with the rest of the galaxy. The final decision President Santos called for, a global referendum, but events moved too quickly for traditional democratic processes. The approaching alien fleets forced Earth's leaders to make an immediate decision. After intense negotiations, they reached a compromise that would satisfy no one completely, but might preserve some hope for the future. Volunteers from every nation would be selected to undergo the transformation, creating a bridge between old and new humanity. These individuals would join the Phantom's crew and gain access to the alien technology and knowledge. They would become humanity's ambassadors to the galaxy, capable of interacting with transformed species on equal terms. The rest of humanity would remain unchanged for now, giving the species time to adapt to their new cosmic situation. Earth's resources would be used to build defenses and colonies, preparing for either cooperation or conflict with the galactic community. The transformed humans would share their knowledge gradually, allowing society to evolve at a sustainable pace. Dr. Harrison was among the first volunteers, driven by scientific curiosity and a desire to understand humanity's true potential. Artists, engineers, philosophers, and explorers from around the world joined him, creating a diverse group that represented the best of human creativity and adaptability. They would retain their human memories and personalities while gaining capabilities that would allow them to explore realities beyond current imagination. The new beginning. The transformation ceremony took place aboard the Phantom, with representatives from Earth watching through quantum communication links. The volunteers entered crystalline chambers that filled with the same blue energy that flowed through the ship's transformed hull. The process was neither painful nor pleasant. It existed beyond such simple sensations. As the energy worked its changes, the volunteers felt their consciousness expanding. They could suddenly perceive dimensions of space and time that had been invisible before. Mathematical concepts that had puzzled humanity for centuries became as simple as basic arithmetic. The fundamental forces of the universe revealed themselves as aspects of a single, elegant equation that governed all existence, but they remained human in the most important ways. They still loved their families, still felt wonder at beauty, still sought to protect the innocent and explore the unknown. The transformation had enhanced their capabilities without destroying their essential nature. They were proof that humanity could evolve without losing its soul. The alien fleets arrived just as the first group of transformed humans completed their change. Beings of pure energy, partially evolved species, and militaristic conquerors all converged on Earth's solar system. But instead of the helpless planet they expected to find, they encountered the Phantom and its hybrid crew, backed by Earth's determination to defend its right to choose its own destiny. Captain Rodriguez stood on the bridge of her transformed ship, no longer purely human but still proudly representing humanity's spirit. The universe had tested her species and found them worthy. Earth had chosen evolution over stagnation, growth over safety, and cooperation over isolation. The greatest adventure in human history was just beginning, and the stars themselves waited to see what this remarkable species would accomplish with their new abilities and ancient wisdom.